Question number 2, it comes from the entrepreneurial Reddit subreddit category, and it asks, if you've started a business, what would be your biggest piece of advice or something you wish you would have known early on? This is the age-old question. I love this question, but I also don't like this question, because if you knew everything before you started a business, most businesses wouldn't be started, in my opinion.
I think there's pattern recognition. I think the things that I learned after doing a few of these, it's the first few employees that set the cultural DNA, and that to me is the most important thing you do as a CEO or founder, is the first 4 or 5 people around the table. Because when you go from 5 people to 12 people, like I've done a few times, the mold's pretty much set. You tend to, if you've got A players in the first 5, the next 7 or 8 or 10 that join the team are also going to be A players, and then from there it becomes relatively easy. So set the culture, know what you believe, know what you stand for, and hire people that fit that, not just technical talent.
Mm-hmm.
That's easier said than done, but that is one big lesson. The other big lesson that I wish I'd have known is control. So as you raise venture capital and you go through the seed round, the angel round, the seed round, the Series A, Series B, Series C, somewhere along the way in my last business, I gave up control of the business. And it's not that I'm a control freak, it's just when you've sold the majority of your company, the investors' interest in that of the CEO and the team and everything don't always match. So that's something I'll look out for. I think Mark Zuckerberg has done it crazy well. I mean, he sold a ton of the company over time as they've gone public, but he owns controlling shares to protect, so he says, the interests and the platform of Facebook. So I think that's an extreme. You're not Mark Zuckerberg. We're definitely not Mark Zuckerberg. So you aren't going to be able to exert that kind of power as you go out and raise outside capital. But think through it. Think about what's important to you and why. So those are the 2 big things that I've messed up in the past that hopefully we do a little better here.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me, and I've not built a business on the scale of John, but for me, the biggest thing that I had to realize in business is that things don't happen as quickly as you want them to. And it goes with everything, signing up clients if you're a service business, or everything that you think that you want to happen, it's going to take longer than you think it will. And for me, like, learning that was really important, because ultimately you work towards speed, but it's speed in the day-to-day things that you're doing. It's speed in implementation. It's speed in the tactics that build your business, but the overall strategy, you have to understand that it's going to take a long time, and you have to be okay with that if you're trying to build something substantial. So you
have to be frustrated with that too. You have to be able to look at it and be frustrated with the amount of time it's taking, and try to push. If you look at lean startup, how many times can you go through the launch, iterate, launch, learn, iterate cycle? The more times you can go through that, the better you are. And Bill Gates' famous quote, you'll like this. I don't know, you probably know it, but I forget the exact quote, but he said something to the effect of, people always overestimate what they can get done in 1 year, but always underestimate what they can get done in a decade. And that's pretty accurate. If you look at 5 years of building a business, man, you go from nothing to something pretty spectacular. But in 1 year, boy, especially with your head down in the weeds, it's hard. But you have to push it. You have to say faster, faster, faster all the time, I think.
Yeah. The last thing I'll cap on this is ruthless prioritization.
Yes.
That's the biggest thing I've learned coming to Engine, is when you're sitting in a room, especially with John as a CEO, and him saying, what are we doing? And then asking, why are we doing it? You've got to be ruthless in your time management and prioritization as a business. Otherwise, you're going to have a lot of activity and not a lot of results produced from it. So I think,
I agree.
that's a big one.
Yep.